Welcome back to Only Talk Sports. So we talk sports every single day, or at least we try to. I'm Roach Jeffrey. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Hit that notification bell so you never miss another video. Sorry about the hiatus, but we are back, and I'm going to be doing more videos as we start to preview the NFL and the college football season. And today, I have the team preview and record prediction for the Alabama Crimson Tide in college football. Alabama football has some uncertainties that they have not had in a long time. Alabama's been the most dominant team in college football for the last 15 years, but the last 2 years has been the Georgia Bulldogs that have been the top dogs in college football, and Alabama, some people think that they're falling off of a cliff. I don't know if it's that drastic or not. I think that Alabama is still A-okay and that they are in great hands with Nick Saban, one of the best coaches, if not the best coach in college football history, still at the helm. Yes, he's 70 years old. He's older now, but he still has the charisma and the ability to recruit and get his players to go out there on the field and play at a high level. Nick Saban's record at Alabama is an incredible 189-27, and he's 109-18 in the SEC with 6 national championships. You can't beat that, and it was just 2020 when Alabama won their last national title, and then the last 2 years they've gone 13-2, and they lost in the national championship game to Georgia, and then this past year they went 11-2 and shellacked the Kansas State Wildcats in the Sugar Bowl. That was an ugly game for Kansas State fans, but Alabama was dominant in that game. Nick Saban had most of his important players playing. They did not opt out, so that shows you that Nick Saban still is in complete control of the Alabama Crimson Tide. And even though there might be more question marks about Alabama than there have been in a long time, that does not mean that Alabama is suddenly going for dark and stormy rain clouds ahead. I think that there's still clear skies ahead for the Alabama Crimson Tide, even if they are not definitively the best team in college football anymore, even if they have to share that with Georgia and some of these other teams at the top of college football. Nick Saban still has the Crimson Tide in great shape. But now to preview the football team. There's a lot of interesting storylines about the Alabama football roster, and it starts at none other than the quarterback position with potentially 4 guys that could start for Alabama next year. Alabama's not had a quarterback competition since Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Hurts. Obviously, Tua won that year over Jalen Hurts, and Jalen Hurts went to Oklahoma, but at least Alabama, you knew, had 2 quarterbacks that were going to be capable of running the Alabama offense and allowing the Crimson Tide to still be at the top of college football. This year, there are question marks about Alabama. They've had to bring in a new offensive coordinator with Tommy Rees, and they have brought in Notre Dame transfer Tyler Buchner, who is a redshirt sophomore quarterback from Notre Dame, and Tommy Rees has that connection of being Notre Dame's offensive coordinator. Now he's at Alabama, so you would presumably think that Tyler Buchner will be the starting quarterback for Alabama because Tommy Rees is the offensive coordinator, and they already have that chemistry. But Tyler Buchner's not a quarterback that a lot of Alabama fans have a ton of faith in because he was solid at Notre Dame, and it's not like he lit the world on fire. He wasn't playing at an elite level. But the one thing that Alabama fans have to remember is that Alabama used to win without top-notch quarterbacks in the past. When you look at Blake Sims, Jake Coker, A.J. McCarron, those guys won a lot of games despite not being elite quarterback talent. And why did they have success? Because they had a fantastic team around them. Alabama this year is going to have to prove that they can win without an elite quarterback again. Or there could be some struggles for Alabama next season. But I do think Tyler Buchner has the inside job to start. But the other quarterbacks in competition for the job are Jalen Milroe. He's a redshirt sophomore quarterback. A lot of Bama fans remember from last year when he came in for Bryce Young this past season when Young got hurt, and Jalen Milroe was solid running the football, but he really struggled to pass, and a lot of people still think that he's having struggles throwing the football even now, and if that's the case, he probably won't be the starting quarterback, even though he does have a lot of upside running the ball, and if he can improve as a passer, maybe he can start eventually for the Crimson Tide. Ty Simpson's a redshirt freshman, and Eli Holstein's a true freshman. Both those guys are extremely talented, but probably a year or two away from contributing at the quarterback position for Bama, but at least still they are solid quarterback options if the starting quarterbacks for Bama unfortunately get hurt or aren't playing at a high level. The running back position, Jace McClellan, he's the most experienced guy Bama has back, and that's crazy because Alabama a couple years ago had a ton of running backs that were really solid. Now you've just got Jace McClellan. You do have Roydell Williams. He's a senior as well, just like Jace McClellan. He hasn't played that much though, but he probably will be the running back number 2 option. Bama does have some talented running backs that have not had a lot of experience yet, but Jace McClellan will definitely be the starting running back for Bama this season, but he's going to have to stay healthy. That's been something that's been an issue for him, and if he gets hurt, Alabama could have some problems at the running back position. And the Tide need to have success at the running back position, especially if their quarterback play isn't as good as it's been in the past. At the wide receiving room, you've got Ja'Cory Brooks and Jermaine Burton. Those are 2 junior wide receivers for Alabama. Jermaine Burton obviously did transfer from Georgia, so he does have a lot of experience playing for a national title team. That will help. But none of these wide receivers have broken out to the point point where you can say that they're a stud receiver or a top receiver that will be drafted toward the top of the draft, like some of the wide receivers that Alabama's had in the past, like the quartet with Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Waddle. That was a great receiving core for Bama. They don't have that this year, but they do have some intriguing options behind Ja'Cory Brooks and Jermaine Burton, like Isaiah Bond and Kobe Prentice. They have some other receivers as well, but Isaiah Bond and Kobe Prentice did play some for Bama last season, and they were starting to improve toward the end of the year. Tight end C.J. Dupree is the bona fide starting tight end for Alabama. He's a transfer from Maryland. Good pickup for Nick Saban and the Tide. I think C.J. Dupree could be the best tight end that Alabama's had in a few seasons because they have been really lacking in that position since O.J. Howard, but I do think C.J. Dupree could have some success. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, Alabama lost a lot on the defense. The three guys that have the most experience on the defensive side of the ball is linebacker Dallas Turner. He's a junior, and a lot of people know him for infamously having some bad plays last year where he took the hits to another level. He did not play clean football at times, but if Dallas Turner can get that under control, he is a talented player that has a bright NFL future. Cornerback Kool-Aid McKinstry and free safety Malachi Moore are the two other most experienced players on the defensive side of the ball for Bama. Alabama needs to have a great defense this year because the offense does have some question marks, especially at quarterback. Even if Tyler Buchner starts, I don't think he'll be as good of a quarterback as some of the other guys Alabama's had in the past, like Tua or Bryce Young. So I do think that Alabama is going to need their defense to play well, but they've got a lot of youth on the defensive side of the ball. But at least that means with Alabama's talent that they have, because they get top 5 classes every single year. If you look at the recruiting rankings, Alabama's still doing a knockout job there. So they got talent on the defense, just guys that are unproven. So until we see these players, we just don't know how good Alabama's defense is going to be, but it has the talent to get the job done. But Dallas Turner, Kool-Aid McKinstry, and Malachi Moore need to be the type players that are going to help the younger guys be able to grow and develop and be great role models to help the defense improve as the season goes along. There might be some bumps to the road at the beginning of the season, but it probably will improve as the year goes along because Nick Saban teams usually do improve on defense by the end of the season. And kicker Will Reichard, he's back. He's a solid kicker. One of the best kickers Alabama's had in the Nick Saban era because they've had some struggles in the special teams department during Saban's tenure at Alabama, but Will Reichard is a really good kicker, so he definitely is the leader on special teams. But now looking at the schedule, this is the tail of the tape. What do I think that Alabama's record will be potentially in 2023? They start out the year with Middle Tennessee State. That's a win, you would think right there. Then you've got Texas. That's the headline non-conference game. Alabama played at Texas last year, and they caught some breaks, and they were able to win that game. This time it's at home in Tuscaloosa. It's only the second week of the season, so there's probably still going to be rust for Tyler Buchner if he is the quarterback to try to be able to play at a high level. Only in week 2, that's kind of tough. Then you have at South Florida. That should be a win, you would think. Ole Miss at home is a tough game. Lane Kiffin always gives Nick Saban his best shot, but you would think Bama would have a better shot to win there. Then you got at Mississippi State, at Texas A&M. Those are two tricky games, and Texas A&M especially has been a problem for Alabama. The last time they played at Kyle Field, Texas A&M won on a field goal at the end of the game. So Alabama's going to have to play their hardest to win because Jimbo Fisher, even though they've had a lot of struggles at Texas A&M, always gives Bama their best shot. Then you got Arkansas, Tennessee, and LSU at home. 3 really tough games. Even though they're all at Bryant-Denny Stadium, you can't think that those games are going to be pushovers, especially Tennessee and LSU that do have SEC title aspirations and are both rivals for Alabama. At Kentucky is up next. That's a tough, sneaky good game right there, even though Kentucky has been a bit down the last couple years. Chattanooga at home, the annual easy game before rivalry week in the SEC. It should be a win. And then you have at Auburn. Auburn's been down, but it's still the Iron Bowl, and Auburn's always feisty at home. So looking at this schedule, I could see Alabama's floor being 9-3. I could see them dropping 3 games out of some of the games like Texas, Mississippi State, Texas A&M, Tennessee, LSU, and Auburn. Out of those games, maybe they could lose 3 of those games. I do think Alabama could go undefeated. With Nick Saban and with the talent that they have, Alabama could go 12-0, and they could have an undefeated year and easily make the college football playoff. But actually, my record prediction for Alabama is 10-2. And I know a lot of people are going to be shocked that I'm not going with 11-1 at least, and I think Alabama could very well go 11-1. But I'm going to go with 10-2 right now before the season begins 2 months out because of the fact Alabama has too many question marks on defense, too many young players, too much youth. We just do not know how good their defense is going to be. They only have 3 really experienced defensive players coming back, and most of those guys are flawed. But if they can really help out the younger guys to be able to grow and develop as defensive players, and I think Alabama's defense could be really solid. And on the offensive end, the receiving core is talented, but not as good as it's been in the past. The running back room is question marks behind Jace McClellan. And the quarterback position, even though Tyler Buchner is a good quarterback, he's not a guy that's elite, and Alabama just does not have enough experience around him where I think that those guys can carry the quarterback position if it's not playing at a high level. So Tyler Buchner's going to have to do a good job, or Jalen Milroe, whoever starts. And the offensive line's been down the last couple years as well. I think that it should be solid this season. It should be a little bit better than it was last year because those guys are a year older. But Alabama has a lot of question marks on defense and on offense. It's a Nick Saban-led team. The Alabama Crimson Tide are going to be fine. They're not falling off a cliff. There's no storm clouds approaching where Alabama's going to be a 6-6 team out of nowhere like a Texas A&M. Alabama is in great hands still. Nick Saban's still at the top of his game. But I do think Alabama has a tough enough schedule and enough question marks on their team that I am going with Alabama to be, for my record prediction, to go 10-2 in college football during the 2023 season. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Like this video down below. Comment down below what you think the Alabama Crimson Tide record will be in 2023. Whether you think they'll win more than 10 games or less, and what you think about my record prediction for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Follow me on Twitter as well. Link is in the description, and I will see you next time.